Woo! Hey, what's going on, guys? Dr. Dan here. Welcome. Thanks for joining me, folks. Always a pleasure to join you guys. Listen, just wanted to keep you guys updated. I'm going to be appearing on the CBD Ed Cheney show, a live podcast this upcoming Friday, I believe, April 8th at 1 p.m. At least that's when we're recording. I'm pretty sure it's going to be aired the same time. I'm not sure if it goes through the editing process. If I'm wrong, mea culpa, as well. Hey guys, sorry for using the cheat sheet. I don't really have a teleprompter, and I try and reduce the uhs and ums and all that kind of jazz when I'm doing this YouTube thing. I'm trying to up my level and become more professional. So I'm really just working on that. I appreciate you guys sort of working with me as I go through this process of just becoming more practiced with it. Anyway, with regards to the CBD Ed show, I really just wanted to sharpen my skills, because this guy, Ed Cheney, he's really enthusiastic about the wellness potential of CBD. He's very well read. He's just very fluent and voluble regarding the promise that CBD holds as just the non-psychoactive sibling, if you will, to THC, the yin and the yang, brother from another mother. Actually, they come from the same mother, which is CBG, known fact. So, I wanted to do some research and really be just on top of my game before I appear on his show. So I was happening to dig into some stuff, really, because if you follow CBD Ed, you'll see that he touches on a couple of applications and the promise of CBD. We're just starting to open up the potential of CBD as far as its prowess in terms of antioxidation, anti-inflammation, its promise as an anticonvulsant, antipsychotic, antidepressant. It does a host of things, right? A host of important things. It does so, as CBD, all of the cannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system being ubiquitous throughout the body, it comes into play in the musculoskeletal system. It comes into play in terms of neurologic health, in Alzheimer's disease, slowing the progression of beta amyloid plaques. We're going to dig into that a little bit later. It comes into play with cardiovascular disease. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in terms of its role in vasodilation. So, there's just a lot of promise that CBD holds due to its chemical structure and how it goes about doing its job. And I wanted to dig into that specifically today with regards to its anti-oxidative and anti-inflammatory potential. So in doing my research, I came across this really cool article, a recent article, a 2020 article, I believe published, let me find myself here, published in Antioxidants, the Anti-Oxidative and Anti-Inflammatory Properties of Cannabidiol. All right. So really what this article did was it really just summarized the chemical and biological effects of CBD in with respect to antioxidation. So I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into what that really means, why antioxidation is important. I'm sure you guys have heard this term before. So I wanted to just do a little quick review. When we're talking about oxidation, we're talking about these free electrons, these free radicals. I'm sure you guys might have heard this term, free radicals. These free radicals are free, unpaired, wild electrons, these rogue electrons that wreak havoc on our cells, and they collide with our cell membranes, okay? And they disrupt the integrity of the outer cell membrane to keep the interior contents of the cell intact and from spilling out into the outside, as well as maintaining the electrochemical gradient between the interior of the cell and the exterior, okay? So these free radicals, in addition to, colliding with the outside of the cell, once they penetrate the interior of the cell, they can continue to do a host of damage in a variety of ways. For example, colliding and destroying structural proteins, the membranes of the interior organelles, the mitochondria, for example, which is the powerhouse, the energy powerhouse of the cell. It can also collide with the nuclear membrane, the nucleus, which houses our all-important DNA. When these free radicals, these wild rogue electrons, hit our DNA, collide with our DNA, it can disrupt the DNA in a way that it can't perform its replication function properly. It can't produce proteins, these functional proteins and structural proteins properly. These could be proteins that are destined for a function within the cell or destined for export outside of the cell for some sort of extracellular function at a distant site. So, long story short, if you extrapolate this sort of reaction, this sort of deleterious action inside the cell to the tissue level, and then from the tissue level to the system level, then this sort of thing is very important. This is the thing that leads to dysregulated function in the cell and eventually possibly cell death, also known as apoptosis, or just early aging of the cell, which is known as senescence. All right. So being able to defend against this particular type of reaction is crucial. It's a very crucial concept. All right. So what these cannabinoids are doing is really, really central to maintaining homeostatic balance, both within the cell and at a tissue level. If you extrapolate the tissues just being comprised of the cellular units, what happens in the cell, you can pretty much assume is going to be happening to the entire tissue and can be extended to the systemic level. All right. So let's just dig in a little bit deeper as to what's going on with CBD, these endocannabinoids and these phytocannabinoids. All right. The plant analogs to the endocannabinoids that are produced endogenously inside our body. All right. So CBD does this in, really in two ways, right? In a direct manner, okay, where its chemical structure affords it the ability to defend against these reactive oxygen species, these free radicals, and in an indirect manner, where the CBD acts as a signaling molecule combining with the cell membrane receptor to initiate a signal cascade that's amplified within the cell, of which the end result is transcription of a gene or genes with transcription factors and production of proteins that ultimately are going to also act as antioxidants. Okay. So the first way, the direct way that CBD works is by physically itself, chemically itself, capturing these free radicals. And how it does it is really through its own unique structure with its own free electrons in its phenolic ring. There's a ring structure to CBD and THC. They're very similar in structure, and they really only differ at one position, one of the carbons. And what CBD does, because of its unique free unpaired electron structure, it's able to attract and capture these wild, rogue, free radical electrons that otherwise would collide with cellular contents. Okay, so this is a ubiquitous aspect of CBD that can be extended to a variety of applications in a number of different situations. Okay, for example, really cool example that they gave in this article, for one, was the Fenton reaction. Okay, so the Fenton reaction, this occurs with transition metals like iron, for example. When iron is put into an oxidative environment, it produces more free radicals via a chain reaction and produces more reactive oxygen species. All right. And what CBD does is it's able to capture what's called chelation. It's able to capture these free radicals that are generated as a result of this Fenton reaction and preventing further propagation of this chain reaction, which goes on to produce more free radicals. So boom, big plus there. All right, Fenton reaction. Secondly, that they sort of hinted to in this article, or just explained explicitly, was the free radical capture that's involved in production of the beta amyloid plaques that underlie the pathophysiology of Alzheimer's disease. Okay, in Alzheimer's disease, these plaques, they sort of stack one on top of another like bricks or like Legos around the myelin sheaths of the nerves, and this acts as a toxic environment to the nerves, and it really just causes neurodegenerative damage to the nerves. Okay, and this is as a result of free radical formation. What CBD does is, again here, it captures this wild free radical and prevents the stacking of these beta amyloid sheets, and basically curtails this process that underlies Alzheimer's disease. Guys, this is huge. All right, this is not small stuff. This isn't little stuff. CBD does this directly through its unique chemical structure of its unpaired electron. All right. I think another important thing that they alluded to in this article was with an experiment done with rats that were induced to have type 2 diabetes. And what happened in this particular case was CBD was able to capture the free radicals, actually induce vasodilation of the blood vessels, that the nerves, and keeping these nerves healthy and keeping the blood vessels healthy and everything flowing nicely, and protection from free radical damage in these type 2 diabetes rats. So big important effects here, really important effects here that I'd like to outline in terms of the direct effects where CBD, the molecule itself, can capture these free radicals and prevent further damage, and keeping a homeostatic, a balanced environment within the cells so that the cells can have a longer life. They can continue to do the things that they're meant to do, and the tissue as a whole is able to operate as a smooth running unit. All right, so this is big. Cellular health is not small stuff just because the cell is small, So that's pretty much the direct action of CBD. If you move on to the indirect action of CBD, where cannabinoids are acting as signal messengers, okay, signal transducers, that's really, I think, where we find the beauty, the real promise of CBD. All right. So what happens in this case, remember, that's really the role of cannabinoids in general. All right. Phytocannabinoids that come from plants and endocannabinoids that are produced within us. Okay. These things act as signal transducers. All right. The structure of these cannabinoids, remember, these are derived from polyunsaturated fatty acids. All right. These are cell membrane type polyunsaturated fatty acids. They're clipped right off the cell membrane. That's how endocannabinoids are produced. All right. The phytocannabinoids are from outside. But nonetheless, they're similar to this arachidonic acid, which is a polyunsaturated fatty acid. At any rate, these structures, these endocannabinoids, like CBD being a phytocannabinoid, these things combine with cell membrane receptors. And once that happens, these receptors send a signal to the interior of the cell and amplify this signal. Ultimately, the last step of this cascade is transcription factors going inside the nucleus, binding with the DNA itself, and inducing transcription of proteins, ultimately, that act as further antioxidants. All right. Just like how CBD itself is physically, chemically an antioxidant, the CBD can induce a reaction to produce more antioxidants, more troops to the site of oxidative injury, and prevent further injury and start the process of repair of oxidative damage. So I think that's a huge win, being able to really harness the inherent power of these natural chemicals, these natural medicines, if you will, to really just extend the life of cells and keep the cells in a really just happy, harmonious balance, all with the added benefit of no psychoactivity. You know what I mean? Especially, would like to add, if you put CBD with its counterpart THC, the yin and the yang, if you will. CBD in a THC environment, that's really where you're able to just maximize the power of these cannabinoids and really just get the most powerful effect. Synergistic polypharmacy. That's the beauty of natural medicines, because they're not just one. You know, in nature, these things come all together. You know, the CBD, the CBN, the CBG, the THC, the whole family of them. When they work together in concert, you really get the most of them. The entourage effect, if you will. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, guys. You know, really powerful antioxidative activity with CBD, a ton of promise when you consider it as a natural medicine. You know, really, you know, CBD, the antioxidative effect of CBD, more powerful than vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, and these are great antioxidants themselves. Incorporating CBD into the regimen adds that extra layer of benefit. Okay, guys. So I'd really encourage you guys to just check it out. Check out that article. You know, I think I posted a link there below. So that just gives you the kind of rundown as to what they did and how they got their results. But really, guys, that's it in a nutshell. Check it out. Make sure to check me out on the CBD Ed Show. That's coming up this Friday, I think 1 p.m. Central Time. Yeah. So nice joining you guys. You know, it's always a pleasure to join you guys and just give you the best in peer-reviewed literature and how it relates to cannabinoid science and general wellness and natural medicines. But yeah, until next time, guys, it's always a pleasure. Look forward to it. All right. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe. Be well to each other. Most importantly. All right. Dr. Dan, out. Bye.